Hey guys, how's it going? So you probably are wondering, you see the title of this video and it says, prepping doesn't have to mean SHTF. So what exactly does SHTF mean? And, how does it pertain to this video? SHTF means stuff is going to hit the fan. And some people prep for, doomsday, the world's going to end, whatever their reasonings for it is. So over the time, prepping has really taken on, it can have like a bad stigma to it. And I've really been trying to figure out, when I share that we prep, a lot of times I'll hear, well, what are you prepping for? The world's not going to end, blah, blah, blah. And we aren't prepping for the end of the world. We aren't prepping for whatever some of the people out there think that they're prepping for. I'm prepping for Tuesday. I'm prepping for Friday. I'm prepping for, and I've got for instance, right now, I have a boot on my foot. I have a ligament on the back of my foot that is inflamed because I've got a bone spur. So the doctor has told me that we're going to put this boot on my foot for 1 month. And at the 1 month mark, of course, I've got exercises and stuff to do. If at that 1 month mark, I go in for my appointment and I'm not better, I'm going to be having to have surgery on my foot. So I have a full month right now to prepare my household for me potentially being down for 6 to 8 weeks. So when I think of prepping, I look at situations like that, it's pretty likely that we can all have a situation like this. But the good thing is, I've got warning, right? I've got a month warning that I could be down for a couple months. I'm not going to be laid up in a hospital bed, but boy, let me tell you what, having this boot on my foot has slowed me down crazy. So the good thing is I've got warning, right? So I can plan accordingly. I can start making up meals, get those thrown in my freezer. I can make sure that all of the bedding is all washed, all my extra blankets. I've got vegetables cut up and frozen so that I can do a stir fry. I got stuff ready for crock pot meals. I can make life a little bit easier for myself. But let's say I'm going outside. I'm going to take care of my animals. And let's say I hit those steps out there and I bite it, right? And I break my foot. I've got absolutely no warning that this is going to happen, right? I'm just living my everyday life. And boom, all of a sudden now, you might have to have surgery, might have to be in crutches, whatever the situation is. But now at that situation, which I would call that, that's kind of an emergency situation. Now what? Now life is going to be really not completely torn upside down, but imagine trying to have a bummed leg, a bummed foot, you're slowed down, you're trying to get meals on the table, you're trying to contribute to the household, and you're at half capacity, right? Or more, depending on what has happened with this fall. So the key to this is, guys, we don't have to have a month's worth of meals prepped up. We don't have to, go to the extreme where you have your full basement loaded full of stuff and all that kind of stuff. But let's look at and let's think about what is likely to happen or what could likely happen to you. And how much nicer would it be, for instance, I know that I'm going to be, in a month, I could potentially need surgery. In this month period, I can get so much done and not stress as hard if I do have to be down for those couple of months. But now I fall, I have to go to the hospital, things are slowed down. I got, maybe a couple frozen pizzas in my freezer, but much more than that, it's full on cooking. I have to figure out how to do all that stuff. And it would likely lead to more dinners out, right? Because I'm hurting, I'm not feeling good, whatever. We went out one night and had Thai for dinner, or Chinese for dinner, whatever the thing is, and it was $70. Now, can you imagine if you had to do that a couple nights a week, 3 or 4 nights a month? That all adds up. So I look at prepping as, just being prepared for everyday things that can happen and making life a little bit easier on myself. And so I thought what I might do is, through this next month, as I'm squirreling away things and prepping for this doctor's appointment, that I might take you guys along and just show you some of the things that we're doing that kind of save times. And I'm writing things down so that I try not to forget what I want to tell you guys. But a lot of it is, it's working smarter, not harder. Although I say that and I'm like, man, farm life's hard, But I'm thinking about things like, I made my husband's lunch this morning. And I opened up that bag of chips, opened up my Ziploc baggie, and I threw a handful of chips in there. Well, while I've got that bag open and I've got that Ziplocs right there, fill up enough for the whole week, right? Because I don't have to rewash my hands. I don't have to go to the cupboard, get an extra baggie out. All of that kind of stuff is, it's gonna help make life easier on us. The other thing too is I was cutting up a salad for him. And so, I could cut up a pepper and a tomato and a little bit of lettuce, and then I'm done. I clean up my mess. Well, then a couple hours later, I have to make dinner. Well, doesn't it make sense that while I'm got the cutting board out and I'm cutting peppers, cut a little bit extra? And while I have that onion out, think about, okay, I can use an onion tomorrow morning for breakfast, or I can use it for dinner tomorrow night. I've already got that knife out. I've already got that cutting board out. So, think a little bit further than what's going on right at this minute to make life easier. Guys, those are all prepping things. Okay, so one of the other things that I was thinking about too is, we're approaching winter in Michigan, this area of the United States. And it's pretty typical that we lose power for a couple days, right? You're going to have power outages. And so we know these things are coming, right? So it's to our advantage to have less stress, to be prepared for winter coming, and what does that look like? So in the course of this next series on prepping and what does that actually mean, we are going to be touching on some different subjects that are likely to happen in the average household. We're not talking about another pandemic. We're not talking about the end of the world, all that other kind of stuff. We're going to be talking about things that are likely to happen in the average household. That could be your hot water heater goes down and you've called the repair guy, and the repair guy says, excuse me, I'm 3 to 4 days out. What does the average person do when their hot water heater is out for 3, 4, 5 days? Do you know how to take a shower? Do you know how to do your dishes? That kind of stuff. What else do I have written down here? Another one, your stove is out. What do you do? We don't use the microwave very often. So what would be, options? How would you cook a meal? How would you feed your family? We have another one here, your heat's out. If your furnace went out and you couldn't get a repair guy in here for, heck, even 2 or 3 days, if it's the middle of winter, that could be pretty uncomfortable. Boil water alert, that's another one. We happen to be on a well, but the community that we moved from is within village limits, and they had tested their water and something came back wonky in the water, right? So this is a very likely thing that could happen to people that if they're on municipality water. So if something like that were to happen, how would you handle that? I just had a neighbor. She had told my husband that she had plumbing issues, and her son is out of town. She lives in like an apartment off of the house, and so older. What does she do for a plumbing issue? She had to wait until another son another one of her kids could come and help her out. And this is, especially if you've got kids and they throw something in your toilet and now your toilet is clogged. These are real life things that can happen. And there's things that we can do to be prepared. The other one that I think about is last early spring, we had 2 incubators. Well, incubators? Yeah, 2 incubators full of either eggs or baby chicks. And we lost power. What do you do when you have incubator full of eggs and you're on day, I don't know, 15, 16? You got chicks that are, going to hatch in 4 or 5 days. I know my other incubator, I had itty bitty babies, only a couple days old that required a heat lamp. How would the average person, take care of a situation like that? Maybe it's not chicks and eggs that you're concerned about, but maybe, in a situation like me where I've got young grandchildren and, it's okay for them to be a little bit cool, but when we're talking a couple days without power, they would go home with their family at night, but, in the same sense that if you had young children at home, or even the elderly, how would you keep them warm? So some of the videos in these next, series that we're going to be doing is going to be dealing with prepping along those lines and kind of just covering our bases to make sure that, we're prepared for everyday urgencies, emergencies, whatever you want to call them. And then from there, if you want to go a little bit deeper, of course we can go that route because, if you've got life insurance, if you've got house insurance, automobile insurance, that kind of stuff, guys, you're already thinking, you want to be prepared in case there's an accident, in case there's a death in the family, in case you have something wrong with your house. You hope like heck you never have to use any of those services. But you know what? If something happens and you have those services, you're sure going to be thankful. And that's the same thing with, being prepared at the house, at the homestead, at your farm, even in your apartment. You can prepare for any of these situations that I had just discussed. So, kind of stay tuned, guys, because we're going to start putting out some videos on, how to get you guys prepared. And this is going to be probably more for the beginner. There might be some things in here that I do that are going to be for somebody that's more advanced, or, they've already considered how to take a shower, how to get clean, how to, wash their clothes if, they don't want to go to the laundromat, because that's an option too. But there's other options that you can do. A laundromat would cost you, I went down there and washed my blankets because I've got big comforters, and it was $30 by the time I washed my blankets, my sheets, got them all dried. $30. And of course, in a situation like that where we're out of power or the washing machine's down, I probably would not worry about washing those until a later date. But you kind of get the concept that there's alternatives to having stress, and that's going to be the big thing when something happens. If you can alleviate some of your stress, that's half your battle, right? So, guys, I'm going to encourage you to kind of follow along and click that follow button, whatever it is, so when I do a new video, it chimes and lets you know it. If you're not on Facebook, go ahead and join on there too. Instagram, we're on all that. And if you have any questions, guys, feel free to get a hold of us. We're always willing to encourage and help a new homesteader, prepper, whatever you want to call yourself. We're always willing to assist people to be more independent. All right, guys, so until next time, keep on keeping on.